have anything to throw away? Okay, this is yours, right? It's mine.
We're going to hold off of that. I used to tell you that.
Sky, isn't that pretty? Look at that.
What, that's
See any trains? Nope. I know the perfect person to manage the money in your bank. You want to know who it is? I said the money you have in your bank.
yeah,
I know the perfect person to help you manage your money.
yeah.
Bernie Madoff. He's in prison right now, but he could. Bernie Madoff, he was at one time have you ever heard of the NASDAQ stock exchange?
Yes, NASDAQ.
Yeah. See, he was at one point the head of that.
Yeah. Yeah,
and people, I mean, normally people, it's dangerous to have all your money with one person, but they thought,
how it can't be any sweeter than that. Who would have ever thought that he was doing that?
Exactly. And so, I mean, a lot of the investors were, institutions, but there were other people like, that had like maybe $4 million invested for their retirement.
Right.
And they were completely wiped out.
He was giving them all his new customers. He was giving them the ones that he got before.
Yeah.
He was giving them their 20, 30% interest.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, he was basically guaranteeing 7 to 12% return per year.
Yeah.
And
Ponzi scheme.
And nobody could figure out how he was doing it. A lot of some people had said it's impossible. There's no way he could be doing this.
They should have listened to them.
Well, as long as a Ponzi scheme, as it keeps growing, you can carry.
Right.
As long as you have new customers with new money, but once that stops, the whole thing collapses.
You're going to let this guy go out. a lot of cars behind us. Let one of them go out. Let two of them go out. You give the signal. I can't see the man in there. It's a woman. Family Dollar. Oh, they're up here too.
But even in spite of that, if you have like a lot of money, I mean, you don't want to put it in one place with one investor, you know it? I mean, that's, even if the person is reputable.
Right, yeah. Well, I have Citigroup and Ford Motor. I don't know. I will stay with Ford Motor because the head of Ford Motor Company said the future Ford Motor Company is China.
Yeah.
But you never know how things are going to change. Who would ever think that we'd have a president like Trump?
Well, I'm glad we didn't buy that mattress without you testing it out, because you have to come all the way back.
Well, I laid on my back on that. My. I went on my side.
Yeah.
It was okay on my side, and I don't sleep on my side.
Yeah.
And it was spring, and I could feel those springs in there.
Uh-huh.
You have a front end blowout. Have you ever had one of a front end blowout?
Luckily, no.
Going fast? It's hard to say what you will do, but the first thing, if you do have time and space, don't do anything. Let the car do what it wants to.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do anything and let it close. Just let it stop itself. Because if you try to do anything, it'll be wrong. It's a front end blowout. Back end, no problem. Oh, I want to.
What are you doing?
No, I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah. Well, you opened up the door,
Yeah,
Dad. You're going to have to shut it.
Okay, fly, get out of here. Did he get out, go out?
No. Very, you did.
Did he go?
Yes.
Good.
Now shut your...
See,
Before he comes
these
back in.
windows are, these windows are so clean, they don't know the windows are there. That's something how window glass is.
Well, actually, they're clean because I remember last time we washed the car.
Okay, there's a Ford. Now that's a kind of back we have, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
There's what we need right there. You want another car? Get that.
Oh,
Convertible.
yeah.
You could really get...
That's a converter. What
It's a Mazda.
Mazda. Oh, I want you to. I know what I want you to do. Find out how. Take one of those Tesla cars, and call a battery company
Mm-hmm.
and ask how much one of the batteries are.
Uh-huh.
You could say, well, they say what model and what number and all that. Just say that you want an idea. If you had to change a battery, how much would it be?
Mm-hmm.
Just an idea, a close amount. I'd like to know. I'd like to buy a battery, one of those batteries.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's the length of the car, way I understand it, it's almost to the ground. I know one thing: during a collision, you have a problem on your hand with that battery. I hope the battery's not the floor of the car. Hope the battery, because surely they wouldn't let that happen.
Uh-huh.
You know that one car we had, not the red one, the one before that.
The Aerostar?
No, the one before the Aerostar.
The Escort?
I think so. I got working on the back some way, and under the hood, not the hood, the tailgate.
Uh-huh.
And there was this nice carpet, and I pulled it up, and lo and behold, I couldn't believe it.
What?
The floor back there was the top of the fuel tank.
Really?
Well, when I saw that, I thought surely Ford Motor come to save money to compete with another company and putting the lives of all the passengers in that car. I couldn't believe it. Of course, I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
And it came out in the paper. Somebody finally got it in the paper. And just a little thin sheet of it looked like a solid. Well, it was solid. It was the top of the fuel tank.
Mhm.
So back end collision, all that would have been slammed together, and if that fuel tank didn't hold, you'd have gasoline all through the car.
Well, that's what. Remember the Ford Pinto? Remember the Ford Pinto, the one that blew up?
Oh yeah, maybe that's what happened to it.
Yeah. Its fuel tank was at the very back.
Right. Maybe that's what they use on mine and use on that one. I couldn't believe it. I thought surely Ford wouldn't do that. What kind of a mind? The engineer. See what it was? They had to come up with a lower price car and a brand new one to compete with another company.
Mm-hmm.
And they left that safety issue. Didn't even talk about it. They said, do it.
Yeah.
Somebody at Ford Motor Company, the engineer said, look, this shouldn't be done.
Uh-huh.
Mr. So-and-so told me to tell you that it's going to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling them, no doubt, if you don't do it, get out of here. Common sense will tell you that you don't want the gas tank in the car.
Well, it has to be somewhere, dude. It has to be somewhere.
Well, I mean, underneath the car.
Yeah.
It has to be a metal floor. I'm wondering about that battery, that Tesla battery. Surely they don't want the top of that battery to be their floor. Like Ford did about the tailgate there. With a gas tank in the back of their car.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what else do I have to complain about?
I have a feeling that you will always have something to complain about. Pick a topic. School buses today, aren't we? that sweet? Look at that. Isn't that sweet? So now we have to get a box to nail all that stuff in. We might already have one, but let me check.
Possible.
Isn't that sweet?
That's a nice outing.
Cheers.
See the river. See Indiana on the other side.
You got it.
A lot of. But what could you have over on that other side? Would it ever be the day that we'll see a lot of houses going up that hill?
Probably not, because
They'd have to have the trees to maintain the soil.
well, see, those people, they have to get to Louisville, they have to go all the way up to New Albany, and then cross the Sherman Minton Bridge, and come all the way back down again. So it's always gonna, unless they have a rowboat that they can take across the river and.
Boy, if an overweight person did what I did back there, John, you'd have to call the manager and about 2 others to help them up.
Have you seen Chester today? I haven't.
Yes.
Was he in last night, or?
He was outside. I left him in.
So he came in this morning to eat.
Yeah.
Then he went right back out.
He went back out. I gave 3 of them catnip.
Uh-huh.
They like that. There's a big tree up there.
Yeah.
She's going to turn around. She is going
It's
to
a he.
turn around.
It's not a she, it's a he. It's not a she, it's a he. Well, we did it. We did it. I said it couldn't be done, but we did it anyway. That way.
Where you see Chester?
No, I don't. That I do not. Look at all that mulch in his. That big riding mower doesn't make any difference when it comes to mulch, does it?